Varsity Club, welcome back to another classic. It's not his fault he went to a small school. He worked hard, he hit every camp, but he was labeled a risk. They said he was too short, not tough enough, not fast enough, so he worked even harder. During his final year at James Madison University, Isaiah King Jr. suffered a meniscus tear in the opening game against Richmond. Isaiah did what he always does, he battles back, but he returned as the starter only to suffer loss to Richmond in the postseason. Little did he know, Russell Wilson was in attendance on a trip to his old high school football stomping grounds, and he just so happened to see Isaiah King Jr. Isaiah's monster game against Richmond in the playoffs didn't get much publicity, but Russ took notice. They worked together in the offseason, and Wilson convinced Broncos GM George Payton to draft Isaiah in the 6th round. Isaiah's sole promise to Patton and Wilson was that he was bringing another championship to the Denver Broncos, no matter what it took. It's the preseason now, and Isaiah hasn't quite proven his worth yet. And on his first drive of the final preseason game, Isaiah has a costly fumble that has boos raining down throughout the arena. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Russell Wilson comes right back to Isaiah King Jr. on a desperate 3rd and long, and Isaiah immediately gains his confidence back. Even better, he shows a glimpse of the future on the next play. The King has returned. We come out here with the big moment for Isaiah King Jr. ready to get things going. On his very first carry, he's only able to get about 3 yards. He's paired up with Russell Wilson, obviously Russ back here, ready to get things going for the Broncos as well. Russ throws a beautiful ball that apparently goes out of bounds. Kansas City deep in the box right now. Looking for a halfback screen. There's nowhere to go though. Isaiah gets hung up. Russ has nowhere to throw it, and that one unfortunately is going to be 4th down coming with a punt. A massive gamble obviously for the Broncos would be betting a lot on Isaiah King Jr., a young rookie who was unheralded coming out of college. You also have all the pressure of Russell Wilson trying to restake his claim. He's obviously had an incredible career, but has never received a single MVP vote. So you find both Russell Wilson and Isaiah King Jr. with a chip on their shoulder. Can they prove that they are really better than people might have thought? Isaiah King Jr. has a really long loss there, set him up for a big 2nd down. Isaiah, though, with a nice spin move, showing off some of those moves in the open field, and he does pick up a solid gain to make it 3rd and manageable. Big 3rd down here. Russ stays in shotgun. Isaiah moves out. They throw it across the middle. They got a guy wide open. He's going to pick up the 1st down and a whole lot more. The passing game has honestly been fantastic, so why go away from it? Denver dials up another pass. They throw a little comeback curl route here. That one's good for another 1st down. Heavy offensive line in front. Isaiah, the only running back in the backfield. Russ goes under center. They'll hand this one off to Isaiah. He gets a solid run, one of his best of the game, nearly getting a 1st. 2nd and short. Kansas City nursing a 3-point lead right now. Isaiah trying to get himself in the end zone for the first time in his career, and he's going to do it. Isaiah King Jr., the fastest player in NFL history, soon to be. 1st career rushing touchdown. Still pretty early, but you're starting to see that what Russell Wilson saw in Isaiah King Jr. was honestly something good. Russ is out here rolling onto his left-hand side. He's got a couple of guys in front of him, and Russ is unfortunately going to go down for a sack to Calhoun. Big 2nd and 14 here in the 2nd quarter. Isaiah's going to play up the middle. This ball goes to a curl route, and it's nearly picked off by the corner. Big play coming up here. Denver gets to hold on to that 4-point lead. This ball goes underneath. This one's going to go to Jerry Jeudy. Doesn't get nearly enough for the 1st down. Denver's punting again. Kansas City struggled earlier on offense, but they come right back. You know, this team's got Patrick Mahomes. They're not going to struggle too much on offense, and they immediately get a touchdown to extend their lead to 2. And while Kansas City's starting to heat up, don't sleep on Isaiah King Jr. Already a touchdown. He's got 20 rushing yards so far, but it feels like he's just a play or two away from breaking off a big one. This one's not going to be it, though, as Isaiah gets hit hard. Despite the loss, it's 3rd and manageable here. Wilson back in shotgun. Isaiah sits with him in the backfield. Isaiah trying to pick things up. Russell Wilson throws one away. Unfortunately, it's going to be another punt for Denver. Denver's offense is stalled a little bit. They need some sort of spark, and Isaiah's hoping that he can be that spark ultimately for them. The tight end moves in the backfield. Russ sets him straight. Isaiah looking for another game, but again, it's nothing crazy for him so far. Denver did have an injury to the offensive line there. No idea exactly who it was just yet, but Isaiah's nearly picking up the 1st there, making it 3rd and about 2. And it starts to feel like that momentum's actually kicking in. The linebacker makes a quick adjustment there for Kansas City. Isaiah looking to find a hole. He does find it, goes to truck him, immediately misses him, but he gets his biggest run of the game. And honestly, despite a pretty pedestrian game so far, his 1st home game here for the Denver Broncos is honestly looking great. And he's going to pick up a 1st down, breaks the tackle. He's averaging over 5 yards after contact right now. The Michigan man is killing it. Now, Isaiah obviously went to James Madison University, but he is going to be from the state of Michigan for this series. He's going to send himself over to the right-hand side here. Russ back in shotgun. Isaiah runs a streak. This ball goes underneath to the tight end, and he picks up a solid gain. Isaiah absolutely dominated in high school. They called him the Michigan Magician because that man just made defenders disappear every single time he pulled a juke move off. Underneath here, nice little pass. Courtland Sutton picks up almost the first. The one thing we're definitely seeing right now is Russ doesn't really try the ball down the field too much. It's pretty much 10 yards or under is what he's going with every single time. Isaiah, though, puts his carry up the middle. He's going to get a massive first down here, giving him 57 yards on the game. And if it's working, why go away from it? Denver immediately goes right back to the run here. Isaiah spins back inside, stiff arms the defender, and you're starting to see what they saw at JMU. This man still won't go down. Second and short, going with the play action, trying to bait him a little bit. Russ got some time. He's rolling to his right-hand side. He's coming back. Isaiah's looking for the ball. Russ decides to keep it, and he gets the first down. Honestly, you don't see really Russell Wilson run the football that much anymore at his age, but you know what? He picked up the yards. You love to see it. Big passing down. This ball goes across the middle. Jerry Jeudy's going to grab that when he gets more than the first. Unbelievably long drive for Denver right now, but they're absolutely controlling the clock as we get ready to go into the second half. Russ feels the pressure, flings one out here. That one's going to be a little bit too far, and Sutton can't get to it. Second and 10, minute 55 on the clock. Little halfback screen dialed up. Isaiah's going to run into his own man. He gets a couple of yards, but again, it's nothing really to make anything scared from Denver's side. 3rd and 5, Isaiah staying back for pass protection. Russell has an opportunity, but throws that one away. He's thrown so many ways. He's been too risk-adverse, in my opinion. 8 seconds left here in the first half. Kansas City has the ball. They're only down to 1 timeout. They line up for a field goal. This one is going to be up. This one is looking good, and that one is going to be drilled completely down. They extend their lead back to 2 points. We're going to be down going into halftime. Denver does have the ball. There were 4 seconds left here in the first half. Isaiah's going to stay back for pass protection. Russ is going to throw a little bit of a Hail Mary, a little bit too overthrown in my opinion. That one's battled around, ultimately dropped. We're going to go into halftime again, down 2 points. Isaiah's had over 50 plus yards on the ground, a couple of yards in the air. We just need Russell Wilson to try him a little bit more down the field, and this Denver team might pick up a W in their opener. One fantastic thing for Denver is that they come out here with the ball to start the second half, and they're looking to make somebody pay as they go right back to Isaiah. Right back to the run here again. Isaiah finds a gap. He's nearly going to be able to stretch that one, but he's just taken down shy of the first down. If that defensive tackle doesn't get him, Isaiah might still be running at this point. 3rd and short. He's looking for a solid carry. Breaks that one immediately, and he's fighting for these yards. We haven't seen what he was known for, breaking off those big runs like he did in college, but still, he's had a great young game. Russell, though, is immediately going to go down here. They tried a little bit of a trick play, but Jerry Hughes Jr. was all over it. Second in a whole lot of yards after Russell takes that sack. This ball misfired across the middle to Jeudy's going to be incomplete. 3rd and 18. Denver needs a big play here. Russell's going to throw one. That one is battled off the hands of both the defender and, Courtland Sutton, and that one's not going to go anywhere. Kansas City capitalizes. They now have a 19-10 lead if they get a touchdown on their last drive. Isaiah's looking to make something happen. Just can't really find the room he wants to go anywhere, and there's going to be a flag on this play, likely going to be on Denver. Holding on the offense. That one, of course, not a great game, but it's coming back. Isaiah in the backfield with Gordon the third this time. 1st and 20, so many yards to try to make up here. Isaiah, though, they completely get this one to jailbreak a little bit. Isaiah's going to try to make a spin move. They swing him around, and he nearly gets the first on one play. All you got to do is get this man the ball in some space, and he absolutely puts on some moves. Right up the middle here, multiple defenders there, but he does not care. Right back to the run here again. Russell's going to hand that one off. Isaiah tries to bounce to the outside, but he learns quickly this ain't college. Isaiah's lining up a receiver on the far side. Russ brings this one over. This one's going to go right to the tight end, and I believe he has enough for the first. They're going to say that Wilson was actually a little bit shy on that throw, so we're going to see 3rd and inches. Russ under center. Goes right back to Isaiah, who's going to stretch that one, breaks the tackle, and does get the first. King Jr. was 12 yards shy of 100 yards. His very first game in the NFL could go over the century mark, which would be phenomenal. He's trying to make it happen, but it's not going to be on this play. But still, he's fighting and somehow nearly gets up until he falls down after 4. Denver's drive haven't really been quick, but they've just been methodical and patient, and they're honestly working out at this point. Isaiah throws a block that looks like it's going to ultimately cost his team some yards here. Instead of 2nd and short, it's probably going to be 2nd and long. They're going to call pass interference on the offense here. That one's going to be on Isaiah's first penalty of his career. Because of Isaiah's mishap, we got 2nd and 16. Kansas City not really blitzing loud. They do throw one, but it's Wilson getting rid of one out of bounds again. Wilson has to find a way to get this ball to his receivers, because when he's not, it's just ultimately just disappointing. This ball's going to go to Isaiah. Speaking of receivers, Isaiah looking to make a play. Hits him with a spin move. Isaiah still moving, and he's going to get his best play of the game. You love to see it. Big-time players make big-time plays, and Isaiah King Jr. showing that right now. Wilson going right back to Isaiah here. Doesn't really go much as the defensive tackle is free and gets Isaiah after about 1 or 2. Denver still down 9. This ball goes across the middle. The big fella at the tight end position is going to get this one. Fights through multiple tackles and gets the first for Denver. Broncos going right back to the run here. Wilson hands it off to Isaiah, who tries to go to the outside yet again. It nearly pays off for him. Isaiah was known for a lot more outside runs, but so far in the NFL, they've kept him more between the tackles. Wilson brings a guy over. Takes a little bit of a jet sweep. Isaiah with a nice spin move. It creates a little bit of space. Despite a great play by Isaiah, the Chiefs do ultimately recover there and make it 3rd down. This ball is nearly caught, but it's going to ultimately be incomplete, which means Denver's settling for a field goal. The good news is Denver does get the field goal. The bad news is the Chiefs come down the field almost immediately and score a touchdown, giving them the lead right back. We're extending their lead yet again, and this time Russell Wilson goes down. Chris Jones has his X factor now, his 2nd sack of the game, that time on Russ. This ball's going deep. He's got a guy over the top, and Patrick, but that one's going to be ultimately intercepted. What a play by the safety. That one is going the Chiefs' way. This game has proven to be a major test right now. We are finding ourselves down big. Russ has not really lived up to what we've typically seen from Russ. There's been a lot of talk about, did he really just, lose it all? Did Seattle trade him at the right time? Well, we're finding out maybe they did. But still, this is one game in the season. They have plenty of time to get things right. They still have an opportunity to come back in this game if they can just put things together. Russ shakes off a tackle, throws this one away, and ultimately he probably could have ran for a first there. 3rd and short, we don't want to risk a run. The pass protection hasn't really been great so far this game. Isaiah's going to burst through the middle, and look, again, another solid game, giving him over 100 in the afternoon. 10 minutes left in the game. Russ in shotgun. Russ has this guy. That one's thrown. It's a miscommunication between Isaiah and Russell Wilson. Judy's going to try to chase him down. The offensive line's going to try to get him, but they are going to see this one go all the way back into the end zone. A pick 6 for the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a lot of ways that Denver really hoped their home opener was going to go, and this is probably not really one of them. We see a great block by Isaiah, but Russell Wilson's really struggled in the passing game. Russ has thrown 2 interceptions, has still under 150 passing yards, and he's only completed about 50% of his passes. This has been definitely a trying game for Russell Wilson. There's a lot of conversation about, is the elevation getting to him? Does Russ still have it? What's going on with him? We'll ultimately figure it out, but we just need this man to lock in as his pass is thrown perfect, but it's dropped by the tight end. Going for it on 4th down for the first time today. Kansas City has to know a run's coming. They're dialed up. They got a couple of guys there, but even Chris Jones can't stop Isaiah King. Despite what's more than likely going to be an L, this has been a fantastic game for Isaiah. He's shown that both in the passing and the the passing and the rushing game, he's been great. 2nd and 10, Wilson still trying to get his footing here at home. All the time in the world, throws one, and it's another errant pass out of bounds. Isaiah King Jr. was seen getting a little frustrated in the sidelines earlier in the game. He's just hoping his guy can get it turned around, but it's not looking so good for Russell Wilson, who throws his 3rd interception of the afternoon. We're going to see this one returned by Justin Reed. Reed is nearly back in the end zone. He steps out of bounds. That's probably the only thing that kept him out of the end zone. Kansas City's absolutely in massive control. We've only mustered up 13 total points today, the only touchdown being one that Isaiah King Jr. scored. And even as good as Isaiah has been today, he just hasn't been enough to really will this team over the top. The defense has really been put in bad spots thanks to Russell Wilson's interceptions. Russell Wilson really hasn't made great decisions today, and it's been a tough one. Really, one of the few things that has worked today has been the screen game. The screen game has been money, and outside of that, we haven't really found too much, but even the screen game can't bail us out there. Russell Wilson, though, what a shot. He goes deep down the field. He's going to make a huge connection to Patrick for 45 yards. And look, we'll be the first to admit this game is more than over, but still, seeing some positive progress of a deep ball thrown down the field, you got to love that for Denver Broncos fans. And look at Isaiah trying to show that he's keeping the fight going. 2nd and 5 under 3 minutes left. Trying to get some points on the board here. Isaiah making him look silly. Great move. That spin move is deadly. Russ back under center with 2:23 in the clock. Hands went off to Isaiah, who looks to find a gap but can't quite find anything crazy. One of the positive signs we've seen today, though, is there's been a pretty good reliance on Isaiah in both the rushing and the receiving side. One of the negative things, though, has just been Russell Wilson's indecisiveness and ability to not complete a pass. 3rd and 6. Trying to get into the red zone again. This one's thrown. It's nearly picked. We got to play defense on that from Patrick to make sure it wasn't intercepted. So a massive, massive loss for Denver today. They wanted to come out and get a major W, but unfortunately, Mahomes and company had more. They had 46 points on the board. They were at 13, and Isaiah, while he was great, he just wasn't good enough, and he's not trying to hear it. Recapping the stats, Mahomes goes for 286 and a touchdown with 1 interception. Wilson, 19 of 39. Again, not a great game for him. No passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. On the ground, Isaiah goes 27 for 117 and a touchdown. Edwards-Helaire had 3. We see Mahomes even run in for 1 as well. Then we see on the receiving side, Isaiah led everybody with 9 receptions for 91 yards, not a single touchdown, but man, he was great. Despite how great he was, though, it wasn't good enough. There's a lot in this offense to figure out, mostly on Russell Wilson's side, but still, Isaiah showed tons of promise today. Be safe, be smart, tell somebody you love them. Catch you guys on the next one.